I decided to get sober. I could not take what I was dealing with anymore. I was at my wit's end. I remember sitting in my car and I said out loud, I said, I am in living hell. And I didn't know what to do other than to speak it to God, the universe, I need help.
There's special people that come into your life and they're energy people, right? And I kind of look at them like a battery. And they're people that have such good energy that anytime you're around them, you just feel like you're charged up. And today's guest is absolutely one of those people. From the moment I met her, I felt her good energy. It is energy you always feel better when you leave than when you walked in. And it's always an energy you want around you. Miss Fiona, how are we doing, ma'am? Pleasure to sit down with you today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing good today. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. We got a little workout in this morning. We got the day started off in the right way.
Yes, exactly.
Got down here early.
Yes, got that momentum going. It's the best way to start your day. I like to say the way you start your morning sets the tone for the rest of the day.
It absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely does. So just for those who may not know how incredible you are, if you could just tell them who you are, maybe a little bit about yourself, what you're all about, what makes you tick.
Well, my name is Fiona. I am a personal trainer. I do group classes, and then I also do individual training. I was a vet tech for 6 years. I've been in Austin for about 8 years. And other than that, I'm a passionate individual, and I like to spread kindness everywhere.
Well, you do a damn good job. Have you always been like that? Have you always felt the need to kind of spread kindness and warmth and love wherever you go?
I would say so. I think that when I was younger, maybe it was a little bit harder. I felt challenged by energies I would feel around me. I like to consider myself an empath, so I feel a lot of the emotions around me, whether it's someone on the other side of the room. It's funny because I used to convince myself there was something wrong with me for how sensitive I was, but until I learned what an empath really is, it started to make a lot of sense, and so finding rituals to ground myself became ever so important. And back to the whole kindness thing, I think after some tough things in life, it just made me realize that the one thing that people remember is not how much money you make. It's not about what house you own. It's not about what car you drive. It's about the impact that you leave on them, because that lasts with you forever. And through vet med, which is in the veterinary industry, that was even more so prevalent, watching fur babies on their last leg before they crossed the Rainbow Bridge. No one ever talked about how many toys they had. They didn't talk about how many belongings they had, but they talked about the love that they gave everyone else. And that's something that has really sat in my heart. So, yeah.
That's beautiful, and that's a great place to pull it from. So people, if anybody that follows along with you now, they see this incredible personal trainer, they see this extremely fit, beautiful woman and all that. If you could take us, because obviously, we've talked a little bit, you haven't always been this person. Mm-hmm. So if you could kind of take us back a couple years back before this whole kind of journey began for you with the fitness thing and who you became, who you've become now. What did you look like? What were you like back? Not what did you look like, but who were you back then?
So back then, let's throw it back to before I moved to Austin. So before I moved to Austin, I was in I'd say pretty bad relationship. It was abusive, and it was not. It took me a little bit to get comfortable saying that, because I know that everybody has different levels of that kind of intensity, and so I was convinced myself, well, someone else has it worse. But one of my best friends had told me once, there's this metaphor. It talks about two people. There's one person that has no legs, and then there's someone sitting next to him that has no feet. Just because one is experiencing a different pain doesn't mean that one of them is invalidated for the pain that they're experiencing. And so shout out to her for reminding me of that. But back to my story. So I was in an abusive situation that I don't like to place blame on other people, because everyone goes through things, everyone goes through trauma and pain, but it's all about how we heal from it. However, if we're not healed from it, then it's projected onto another.
Mm-hmm.
So I found myself on that side of, being projected onto, and I thought that I was trapped. I thought that, why is this happening to me? And
Are we, if I could real quick, are we talking emotional abuse, mental or emotional, what's the one, not, I was going to say audible abuse, but verbal abuse, physical abuse, the whole, everything?
More so emotional, verbal, a little bit of it got physical, but for the most part it was, I want to say mental.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see the cages that we can kind of feel like we are being put into, but then that's also something that comes along with everything. It's the verbal and the emotional, I don't know how to say it, but yes, the whole spectrum.
Gotcha.
And so getting out of that situation, I guess I should go into a little bit about how I got out of that situation.
Please.
I used to numb myself, my feelings. I would smoke or I would drink. I thought that, what felt good would numb that pain. And, there was a week I decided to get sober. I could not take what I was dealing with anymore. I was at my wit's end. I remember sitting in my car and I said out loud, I said, I am in living hell. And I didn't know what to do other than to speak it to God, the universe, I need help. And so I decided, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop numbing this pain. And so I made the decision to stop smoking. And I should specify, it was weed.
Right.
And so when I made that decision, it's kind of crazy how over that week, I started to notice these like subtle things around me that I was not noticing before, things that didn't really feel okay. Like, you're not going to tell anybody at work what happened, right? I think that those little things started to click. And instead of being, tolerant to those things and saying, okay, well, I'll just go numb my pain and run away from this, I decided to face it head on. And I hadn't talked to anybody about my situation. I hadn't opened up about it because it was all in my head. It was like, this is just me. And that's where kind of the mental manipulation aspect comes to it. It makes you feel like you don't need to talk to other people about this. There's nothing wrong with what's going on. But that's where vulnerability is really where we find our strength. I had gone to work, and there was a kind, strong woman who I had opened up to. And I just told her a little bit about how the morning had started and what was going on. And she said, that's not normal. And for a second I was like, wait, what? It took me a second to kind of recalibrate my brain. And she said, can you please, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but she asked to stay with me after work to sit down and talk to me about my situation and try to give me some help. And as a stubborn person sometimes, I was like, I can get myself out of this, but I was really lost. So she had offered a hand, and we stayed for, I think it was like 2 or 3 hours just talking about everything that had been going on. I remember her telling me a story about how she had been in a situation, kind of similar. Of course, every story is different. They're not all the same. But she said, I can tell you this one thing, is with any abusive situation, it does not get better. It only gets worse. Mm-hmm. And she said, I would hate to see you in that same position that I was in. And so I am here to do whatever I can to help you out of it. It all ended in, her coming to help me, basically remind me of my strength, that I did have that at
Yeah.
a time that I felt like I was weak. Flash forward, you know, I realized that starting to open up about the situation, it felt uncomfortable. It felt unnatural because I'd been so closed off for so long. I didn't have many friends for those few years of my life. I didn't see family very much. I closed myself off from a lot of people because I thought that was what was right. But through talking about it, I started to, you know, reconnect with my family. I moved to Austin. When I moved to Austin, I was didn't know anybody. I think I knew one person and my mama, and you know, it was scary, and it was a big change, but change is necessary when we want to better ourselves. So one thing I really got into was yoga. I had always heard that it can help you relax, and I was trying to find ways to calm my nervous system down instead of, again, numbing it, because I had switched from substances to realizing that we have the ability to bring ourselves back to center.
Thank you for sharing that. And the one thing I would, first of all, like you being open and willing to be open enough to and vulnerable with somebody at work, you know what I mean? Like that right there, that moment where that woman was willing to talk about what had happened to her to help you, is literally why I Am Redemption exists. It's using that pain for purpose.
Yeah.
And it redefines it, you know what I mean? And so now
Tears might come, just a heads
that's
up.
all right. That's all right. That's
They're
all
good
right.
thing.
It's all right. But just how strong that is for somebody else to do, because then that conversation sounds like it completely changed the course of where you were going. Yeah. You know what I mean? Your whole situation. And you sit there and you think about all the problems and issues we have in this world. You know what I mean? And there's stigmas around all these problems, and there's stigmas because we don't talk about them.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're willing to stand up here today and talk about what happened to you, who knows who that helps, and then who they go help. Yeah. And so that's literally like the thing that I see every day that I'm like trying to tell people is like, hey, all these things that we're so ashamed of, this stuff helps people. Share it.
Yeah. It plants a seed.
Yeah.
And a seed can grow a farm.
See? And look,
a farm can grow a forest.
You're right.
I think.
It sounds good. It sounds good. We'll ride with it. So you originally started diving into yoga. Now, is that just kind of trying to get in touch with yourself? Or are you trying to build a little bit of confidence? Like, what is the initial thing you're getting into that for?
So I think yoga, I was more so looking for, you know, relaxation. I think that sometimes when we think of yoga, we're like, oh, the poses. I want to be able to go into the pigeon pose or the downward dog. But it's not about the poses that we do. It's about the process of, you know, being able to slow ourselves down, connect with our breath, connect with our body. And I'd seen, you know, I know people will sometimes use YouTube to look at yoga videos, and that's good for guidance. I think something I was really interested in was getting back in touch with myself, because after you learn to ignore your intuition so many times, the weaker that signal becomes. You know, the less prevalent your intuition is. It's not that it's not there, it's just it's been taught that you're going to ignore it, so why keep sending you those signals?
That signal's going to come back quick when you're doing yoga.
Yes.
I used to think yoga was for slouches. It is not. It is not at all.
No, and I think oftentimes too, like, we live in a fast-paced world, right? It's about progress. It's about perfection. It's about how fast you can go. And so I have a brain that's like, go, go, go. But I also feel like my true self when I learn to slow down. And so yoga was something that taught me how to slow down, how to sit in silence. And there were a lot of things that I needed to heal from. There was a lot of pain that I was trying to no longer numb. And so, you know, yoga taught me to sit with that pain, breathe through it, and learn to listen to the signals that my body would teach me, which then, you know, that led into me learning more flexibility, and just learning how to not only be flexible in my body, but my mind. So instead of, I feel angry, it's, what is this anger trying to teach me? I feel pain, what is this pain trying to teach me? And so it gave me a different perspective on life, because it teaches you to not just react, but to process and respond. But we can't properly respond if we don't learn to, digest information and listen to what our body tells us.
Right.
And so I always say too, like a good yoga session is one that makes you cry. Because if you're crying, it's probably because there's something deep down that you've ignored for a long time. Intuitive movement it's crazy, like how much our body knows. It's just about uncovering, what we've taught it for so long.
Yeah. I can remember I've learned so many lessons through the fitness stuff. Like I talk about it all the time, and I feel like it gets to the point where people roll their eyes and they're just like, oh, they're a fitness person. But I had no idea the life lessons or the valuable things that I've learned just through going to the gym every day, through running.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Truly getting in touch with yourself. I did a talk last night, and I was telling them, the best way I could describe it to somebody is like, this world is engineered for us to be comfortable all the time.
Yep.
Everything is about comfort. And so everybody's threshold for uncomfort isn't very high.
Yeah.
And so I tell, like, the first time I went out and I ran 2 miles, it was like the hardest thing I had done in as long as I can remember.
Yes.
But I got done running 2 miles and just felt so overwhelmed with accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it was like, I just want to keep feeling this. So.
There we go.
So you, see, that's good energy right there. And so talking to people where it's like, man, then that 2 miles turned into 3 turned into 4 turned into 10
Yes.
turned into a marathon. And it's like I kept raising that threshold.
Yes.
And so I started learning so much about myself, whereas like when I started coming up against these things in the real world that would normally make me stop because it's uncomfortable,
Yes.
it's like, oh, I've been way more uncomfortable with this. Let's roll.
Yes.
And so just trying to get people to translate that one idea, not to mention all the other umpteenth million other lessons I've learned from the gym and running, but it's just it's so prevalent in everyday life.
Yes, I love that you just said that, because I was just talking to someone the other day about how the human brain, it was designed to seek comfort, and as people, not to get gory, but as people near death, their brain will seek comfort even more so. But while we are alive and well, while we are capable, it's so important to find those things that challenge you. But I don't think, it's not like one day we're like, well, I'm going to run a marathon right now. It's, okay, well, I'm going to train for that marathon, or I'm going to, just get started. I think that's what kind of my fitness journey began as. It's, I need to challenge myself. And it's funny, when I was younger, my sister used to do cross country, and she was trying to get me to do it. She was like, Fifi, you need to get into running. She's like, you would love it. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I would never. She's like, I promise. She's like, just give it a try. And I was like, nope. And stubborn little me just kept saying no. And then, of course, somehow she convinced me. Big sisters are great for that.
Good sister right there.
And so I was like, you know what? Maybe so. I was like, I think she told me, she was like, if you, like, worst case scenario, you hate it, you can quit. But give it a try. So I decided to try cross country, and this was in high school, or 9th grade, yeah. And I got into it, and I probably hated that first day, and I was like, but that felt kind of cool, I didn't know I could run. I didn't know I could let my energy out in that way. And then the more I started doing it, it's just, like you said, raising that bar, raising that standard for yourself is so important.
What would you say is the hardest thing you've ever done physically?
Physically? That's a good question. I've done Tough Mudders and Spartan races. Okay. Those are a lot of fun. Honestly, for me, it's I feed off of everyone's energy around me. Yeah. I can tell, like, when they're struggling or they need someone to push them forwards, I'm like, I got you. That, like, genuinely motivating other people motivates me. Yeah. And that's, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Some people have that internal motivation to keep moving forwards. Some people have that external motivation. I'd say I have a strong combination of both. But I rode horses for 13 years. That was, I wouldn't say that was hard. That was easy.
Right.
I loved it.
You loved it.
It's a sport, by the way. Some
Right.
people will question that. Let me think. Hardest thing I've done physically. You're putting me on the spot here.
That's what we're here for. That's what we do here.
Yes.
Did you ever do a cut or anything like that?
Oh, I did 75 hard.
Okay.
That totally just went off from my brain. 75 hard. That one, okay. That was probably one of the hardest things I
75
did.
hard was?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think, getting into fitness, so I used to work out outside. Before I became a trainer, I wasn't a part of a gym, I'll be honest. I thought I had social anxiety until I realized I think it's because I'm an empath. I just feel everyone's energy around me, so it's learning how to separate the two. But stepping in foot into a gym or group class, the first thing my mind would think of was, who's judging me? And they think that I look weird. They're laughing at me for the way I'm working out. And it's, at the end of the day, I think it's because, we're not in tune with our bodies. And so we're almost judging ourselves. So then we think other people are judging us. It's a projection, right? It's us projecting our internal feelings, thinking that's what other people do. Topic we were on. Stepping foot in the gym, it was hard initially. And then whenever I started showing up consistently to classes, I started to realize that fear slowly went away the more I showed up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Did that big fear that you always had of people judging you, did that ever happen?
No.
Never, right?
No one ever judged me. No one ever came up and was like, you have a weird outfit. No one said, your hair is messy. That was all just up here. It's all in your mind.
You hear that? Do you hear that?
All in your mind. It really, really is, And that's probably one of the hardest things to battle,
Mm-hmm.
Is getting over that fear. But we can't get over the fear if we just stay there. We can only get over the fear by showing up.
Yep.
And so I think that was something that through 75 Hard, it wasn't just physical, right? It wasn't just physically pushing myself to do things. I think the movement was kind of the easier part. It was the getting myself to get up and go do those things. But then it's funny, after you stick to it for, I forget the fact. It's a habit builds in it's not 14 days.
20 days, 29 days or something like that.
Yes. So they say that 29 or 30
Whatever
days.
whatever the number is.
20 to 30.
That number.
20 to 20,
Right.
yes. 20 to 30 is apparently usually the time that people, quit 75 Hard. And I heard that and I was like, thanks for the challenge. I'm going to keep on going. But I think that, there were days that they were really long days and I was like, oh man, I've got to get my movement in or I've got to finish my water. Honestly, water was the hardest part. Getting myself to drink a whole gallon a day.
That's funny you said that. We did Redemption Crew 60, which is our version of a 75 Hard.
Oh, yeah.
And the water was the number one thing that everybody was everybody was worried about.
It's 9 p.m. at night and you're sitting in bed and you're like,
I have a half gallon left.
yes, it's going to be a long night in the bathroom. But I think that was probably the hardest thing physically, mentally. I did end off on a pretty significant calorie deficit, so it made me realize how important food
Fuel.
is. Yes,
Fuel.
food is your fuel. Anyways.
You said something that's been a big theme of everything I've been doing recently, and it's been the topic of a couple of our meetings, and you hit the nail on the head because you said showing up and you said fear, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing I was saying recently is I always talk about it, and it's surrounding myself with the best people possible, right?
Yes.
And the one thing that's cool, about I Am Redemption and everything I'm doing is the people that I choose to call friend or that I surround myself with, they show up, right? They show up.
Yep.
And I was having a conversation with somebody and they were like, man, I don't have the people in my life where everyone says they'll show up, but when it comes down to it, the people that don't. And I was like, every adult, I feel like once we become adults, I feel we all have that uncomfortable moment where it's like we're supposed to be at this party at 8 p.m. or we're supposed to go work out today.
Yeah.
We all have that self-doubt moment or that fear moment
Mm-hmm.
of like, oh man, I just want to stay home. I want to stay comfortable. I don't feel like going. You think of every reason why not. We all have that moment. I still have that moment.
Yeah.
But it's about walking through that fear and not letting that moment own you.
Yeah.
And walking through that, because there's never been one time that I've walked through that fear and regretted walking through that fear.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
I've only ever regretted not walking through it. And so that, and then it's about showing up. You walk through that fear and then you show up for people. And when you show up for people, they show up for you.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to this person and I was like, look, like, no fault of their own. You know, the people that are around you, I'm not saying they're bad people. Those are just people I would not surround myself with, because I take this serious. When I'm building everything I have going, I wouldn't sacrifice for anybody. And so if you find something in your life that you're taking that serious, or you start taking yourself that serious, and you hold yourself to that standard of showing up, you hold other people to that standard. They know it. You know, it's so important. And it's like, man, what kind of life do you want to lead? We only have a fixed amount of time here. You know what I mean? Do you want to live it to the fullest, or do you want to keep just letting these days tick by? Like, I'm about having the best people with me possible that show up, that I can count on. And I have 10 people that I could call at 3 a.m. and be like, hey, I'm broke down in El Paso. And I guarantee they're going to come there to help. But it's something that everybody suffers from, and I watch it keep people small every day.
I think something, you know, kind of sprouting off from that is that, like, so I used to surround myself, you know, with the wrong people. And I'd just like to preface this that, like, I don't judge people for who they are, where they come from, anything like that. I mean, we all are who we are. But I think that in the sense of when you're trying to better yourself, for me, it was I needed to focus more on my mental health and taking care of it, and before anything got worse. And so what I realized is that for a long time, you know, I wanted to show up for other people. I wanted to be there for other people. And at the end of the day, who was showing up for me? And for the longest time, I thought I was showing up for myself. But it wasn't until I stepped into fitness that I realized, you know, my workout, that's me time. That's my refuel time. That's my therapy session with myself. That's when I can remind myself of my strength, my power. But
fill my cup.
Yeah, exactly. That's what fills my cup. And as much as filling up other people's cup fills my cup, there does get to a point where, okay, well, now it's a little low. So what does Fee need? She needs to show up for herself. And I think that it's hard to know how to show up for yourself when you're constantly...
Did you say, what does Fee need?
Yeah.
That sounds like a YouTube channel if I've ever heard it.
What does Fee need?
That sounds like a YouTube channel right there. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
That's catchy. I like it.
Thank you. Mentally noted. I think that for the longest time, I didn't know how to show up for myself. And that's where getting in tune with your body, again, like that's where you start to learn how to listen to the signals of, okay, like, this is a sign that, you know, my battery is depleted. And someone had phrased it to me. I can't remember if it was my sister or who it was, but like basically talking about how we all have toolboxes, right? And the tools in our toolboxes are what we take out when something needs fixing or when something needs to be worked on. And sometimes if you have no tools in your toolbox, then you don't know what to do. But it's about finding the tools that work for you. And I think for the longest time, the tools that worked for me were going out to be around others and drowning my feelings. You know, again, when I moved to Austin, I found yoga, I found my peace. It's because I didn't know many people. And then I started getting introduced into the party scene. And of course, you know, as a social butterfly, I was like, this is fun, I'm enjoying it. But then there became a point where I was like, this is a lot. I'm, you know, making more mistakes than I am feeling good about myself or feeling like I'm benefiting myself. And so once I stepped into fitness, that's kind of what led me into realizing there is a group of people who have that energy and are social beings and want to better themselves and are just genuine people.
You literally just said the same thing that I was talking to the person about, and it was they were having anxiety about showing up to the run group. And I was saying, showing up to our run group to run for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, that the comfortable decision, it's easy to go show up at the bar.
Yeah.
And you get a couple drinks in you and you get loose. It's a lot harder showing up to a run group your first time ever.
You're vulnerable.
Right.
You're like, I've never done this before. You think that you're weak.
Right.
But, like, that's where you find that strength.
And you quickly realize nobody cares how strong you ran. All they care is that you showed up and you didn't quit.
Yes.
There's only two things people really care about.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? As long as you show up and don't do either of those things. And when I say don't quit, I'm saying if you reach exhaustion, it's okay to stop. But if you just show up and you're like, this isn't for me, and you quit and walk away, that's something like nobody's really going to really respect. But the people walking in the door in the gym the first time, those are the people I respect the most. The people that just showed up to the run group for the first time, I respect those people the most because I remember exactly what it was like showing up that first day.
Yep, you just gave me goosebumps because that's part of my mission in the fitness industry is making sure that anyone who walks through the room, whether it's in my group classes or at the gym I do the individual training at, like I remember that feeling so well, like you said, like just feeling overwhelmed with fear where I was like, and you know what maybe would have helped is like a friendly face. It was like, hey, how are you?
Right.
Instead of, hi, welcome. I don't know, like just a warm welcome. There's really something that that changes the way you feel when you feel accepted. And so
just so you know, you were that warm welcome for me when I started going to Squatch.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Sorry. You're gonna bring tears to my eyes.
Squatch is an amazing gym in Austin. For those that don't know, and it's really big into the high rocks thing. And it's not the type of gym that I would normally have gone to, but it was just such a community-based thing. I had to go check it out. But I'm used to bodybuilder gyms and all that kind of stuff. So I was intimidated walking in. I see guys doing functional exercises and a lot of stuff that I wasn't doing. Even being as avid in the gym as I was, still an intimidating thing to walk into a new space like that. But you were one of the first people. You were walking out with the big jiu-jitsu guy, and we got talking. So
that's awesome.
That's very much my mission too. Is getting people to feel comfortable showing up for their first time. Our run group exists to be the first run you ever did.
Yes.
Come out. I promise you're gonna get through your first run. And you're gonna have a smile on your face when you're done.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
People just want to feel loved and accepted, and that's totally valid. And so, I think that's where having that mission to make people feel welcome is where that's where we can really grow. And it's funny how you mentioned how like going to the bars, that could have been a comfortable decision. I noticed there was a problem when that started becoming uncomfortable for me, or maybe I don't want to say problem. It started to make me realize I wanted to go in a different path whenever I was like, wait, now it's uncomfortable to be here. I think when I started to, really dive into fitness. So I don't know, that was point blank. Can I take a sip of my coffee?
Yeah, absolutely. You do whatever you want. So what would you say, through your kind of journey with fitness and everything like that, if you had to pull away one, what do you think would be if you're sitting down with somebody, they're thinking about going to the gym, what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned in your entire fitness journey thus far? Because also, when did you start on your fitness journey? Truly start?
It's hard to say.
Ish?
So, I could take it back to my parents always had me involved in activities when I was a kid.
Right.
All right, I did soccer.
When did you get serious in the gym?
Serious in the gym. I'd say probably the beginning of the consistency aspect. I think it was a year and a half or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Maybe two.
2 years ago, six-pack. Anybody that watches your content would think you've been doing this your entire life. So just the amount of distance you've covered in a year or two is incredible. And like that right there should be inspirational for people to understand. Like all it takes is, like you just said, a little bit of consistency.
And I think when we think of consistency, this was something that 75 Hard taught me.
Okay.
I thought that consistency was you show up every day and you give it 100%. You show up and if you don't give it 100%, then you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true whatsoever. Consistency is some days you give it 5%. Some days you give it 50. Some days you give it 25. Like the consistency is just that habit of showing up. Mm-hmm. So back to that topic of, showing up, it really is just, there's something my manager had told me previously. It was something to do with like baseball trainers, and maybe they do this with a lot of athletes. Is if you're debating on, showing up to the gym, biggest thing you can do for yourself, for your mental, is even if you don't get out of your car, just drive to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Drive there. And then once you're there, if you can get out of your car and go into the gym, give it 10 minutes. Take those little tiny steps.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing that I would take from it, is that even if you show up for 5 minutes, you're honoring the fact that you're showing up for yourself. And I think it's in building that self-respect for yourself, right? Fitness is honestly where I started building respect for myself and my body. And it's something that I got addicted to, because I was like, oh, I can love myself through this process instead of, be down on myself. And that's, there's a wonderful quote. It says a small man is hard on others, but a great man is hard on himself. And I used to use this quote, and I was like, oh, I did not write that quote, by the way. But I used that excuse as that's why I'm always so hard on myself. But I think the moment that I started to try to be compassionate with myself is really when everything changed.
Do you think I know I feel there is, but do you think there's a distinct difference when you walk into a room from before you started your journey to now when you walk into a room? The type of attention you get, I don't want to say attention, but the type of respect you command in a room when you're talking to somebody, do you feel that it's changed?
I think from the people around me, not necessarily. I mean, I think internally the biggest thing is I felt small before. I felt judged.
So you carry a different presence when you walk into a room now?
Now I feel more comfortable. I realize too that, because I used to think, I'm so kind to people. Why am I like that? Why am I just always wanting to share that positivity or love? And then once I got into the fitness community, I just started getting more comfortable with, okay, I'm going to walk up and high five. And it's funny because in the beginning, people see a high five and they're like, this girl high fives a lot. But then they get into that swing of it, and they're like, dude, I love your high fives. Or then they miss it. You get stronger arms too, but that's a side of it. But I think I'm more comfortable now showing up in the gym and lifting others up. I would say I'm more confident. It doesn't mean I don't, battle those thoughts that are like, don't do this. It's just now I'm learning to be more compassionate with that part of myself. Which there's another wonderful quote. It's, you cannot hate yourself into change. You can only love yourself into evolution. And that really, it's a game changer when you start to say, that voice in my head that's telling me I can't, instead of seeing it as, okay, I can't do it. It's, what are you trying to tell me? Maybe it's just trying to tell you that's a fear, and how can we, how can we do this better together?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. I remember I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and was talking about just kind of navigating the world and the confidence that working out gave me, and going up and doing public speaking and all that kind of stuff. And it was funny, the only place I was still afraid to walk into would have been a business setting where there's people in suits, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought because I wasn't as college educated or any of these things that I didn't belong there.
Yeah.
But if I walk into a prison or something like that, I'm good to go. You know what I mean? So it was an odd thing to not feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
And my buddy was like, bro, what are you talking about? He goes, those suits, he goes, they've never ran 100 miles. He started listing off some of the things I've done, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, you're right. Like, why am I thinking about it like that? You know,
Yeah.
but the level of confidence I had just walking into places in my daily life through conversations, I think people immediately identify like, oh, this person's disciplined.
Yeah.
They show up. You know what I mean? It's things they see, and they approach a conversation differently with you had you not been like that. So
Yeah.
again, one of the other lessons or things that I learned in life, you know what I mean, that through working out, that's more than just the aesthetic part.
Yes.
Is the stuff that it does.
It's a mental toughness.
Huge.
Because then you become that anchor for somebody else, you know, who couldn't do that before. And I don't know. I think that we're all, at the end of the day, we're here to help each other out. Together we rise.
That's
all the way.
I tell people, everybody that's involved with Iron Redemption, together we all rise together.
Iron
all
sharpens
the time.
iron.
Yes, it does. What so you're a big fitness person and all that. What are you doing in your free time? Like, what do you enjoy doing?
Going to the gym.
I feel like you're a layered person. I feel like you do a lot more than just go to the gym.
I, as of recent, not so much. Work has been wild, but I love it. I love my work. I guess to me, it's not really work. It's like, I think going from veterinary medicine to training has been, not only do I enjoy coaching other people, like I try to find that balance of still enjoying my coaching with me. I love to cold plunge. That's a huge thing for me, like mental recovery. It snaps me back into my body, since it sends that shock through your body. Your fight or flight gets activated, and then you breathe through it. I enjoy doing yoga. I rode horses for a really long time. I'm 100% a horse girl.
Let's go.
They're amazing creatures. I have yet to get back into it. I just got to find the right spot.
I got a place for you. I got a spot for you.
You're gonna make me cry.
I do.
What?
Yeah. I have multiple places, but I got one specific spot that immediately came to mind. I got you. It's a nonprofit, works with horses.
What?
Great place for you.
Oh, this is where you really see the tears.
I got you.
I love horses
I got
so
you.
much.
One of the treatment centers that I work with the closest, they do equine therapy. So they have a bunch of horses out on their thing. I just dropped a guy off there last week. So I could take you out there anytime, and then right down by where I live, there's a nonprofit and a lovely woman I could link you up with that would definitely let you come out.
You know what I used to say? Because I used to work with a couple special. Well, I was a mommy's helper for a special needs child, and I love kids. But I used to want to do equine therapy with kids because it's very healing. Did you know that horses have an electromagnetic field that's 3 to 4 times the size of ours? So what they can actually do is they can help to synchronize our hearts with theirs.
Really?
That's why when you go around a horse, you know, if you're scared, they're scared too, or they can pick up on it at least. If you're angry, they'll feel that frustration. But if you're calm, that's when they can help you to synchronize hearts with you. Sorry, my brain. Oh my gosh, horses. They're so great.
They do it for you.
They became my therapy when I was younger as well. And they're just such big, beautiful creatures that teach you that, like, you don't have to be in control of something to create a bond. You can empathize with it and create something stronger. Like, you don't get on a horse to control it and tell it what to do. You get on a horse to create a bond and feel free together. I don't know if you've seen the movie Spirit.
Horse movie?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I could go on about this forever. But it's a just beautiful, not metaphor, what is it, analogy, I guess, just on how they're just free beings. And anyways, that's my...
Let me ask you a question. When I first became a trainer, I ended up working with both men and women. And in my space within the mental health and drug and alcohol recovery space, I quickly realized that when I was working with women, that a lot of my interactions with women were their first experience on like what a good healthy dynamic between a man and woman looked like. So I always took great pride in that, in training women and all, because there's a lot of trainers that won't train the other sex or whatever.
Sending me shivers because this is...
Oh, really?
You guys, I say you guys, I mean, the men at Squatch the men at, the other place I train at, ISI, like, I just seeing strong men who were vulnerable and kind, that was something that was, I don't know, it was amazing to see.
Thank you.
It healed me in a sense,
Good.
and it's still healing me.
Good. I'm glad it does. So it's funny.
Oh shit.
No, you're good. It's funny you're saying that. This is taking me off in another direction, but I want to ask you about training women in a second, but I'm going to go this way. So it was after the 100th episode we did, and we did an event at Squatch and all that, and there was a gentleman who's a member at Squatch that had come up, and we had done a live show downtown, and I had 9 women up on stage, and a lot of them are influencers. They've told a lot of their stories in other places and on other platforms, and I watched, and it was a very emotional day.
Yeah.
I ended up crying. Every woman that ended up sharing was crying.
Yeah.
And what I was most honored by was the fact that, these women have told these stories before, but I've never seen them get emotional. And so the fact that I could foster something where we could all sit up here and they could talk to another man, especially a big tatted, bearded one, and feel comfortable and vulnerable enough to do that, like, I take great pride in that.
Yes.
And so the one guy came up afterwards, and he started crying. And right then he was like, you guys convinced me, like, I'm done drinking, and like swore it off right then.
Yeah.
And all the girls crowded around, and they're like, you Austin guys, you're just so strong and vulnerable, and like they were all like in awe by it. And I never really thought about that. And so a lot of it, what I see and identify as like strength through vulnerability, because for the longest time it was the weak thing to do was bury my shit down. The hard thing to do is talk about it, to be vulnerable, to not look strong. Yes. Is the hardest thing to do. So that means a lot, you saying that. Thank you. And you are right about, my man Bray over there at Squatch. There's so many good dudes at Squatch. Very good community, very good vibes. But back to training women. What do you think? I noticed as soon as I started training women, there were a lot of misconceptions that women would come into the gym with. The biggest one I would get was, I don't want to get big and bulky, I just want to tone up. And it's like, all right, you don't have the hormone profile to get big and bulky.
I was about to say. Nope.
And there's no such thing as toning up. We can lose some body fat to see more muscle. But it was always trying to undo those kind of bad habits or bad preconceived notions. The other one was getting women to understand that food is fuel, and food doesn't equal fat.
Yes.
Just because you eat doesn't mean it's going to make you fat. You're an athlete now. You're lifting. You need to fuel your body. You're slowing your metabolism down because you're not eating all the time. What are some of the other big misconceptions you saw with training with women, or things that you just see every day where you think need to be addressed?
Well, first off, touching on the food being fuel, that is something that's huge. For me, it wasn't until fitness, I got into fitness, that I started realizing that food was fuel. I used to have a really bad relationship with it, in the sense of I've been in that phase where I ate junk food, and then I've also been in that phase where I ate nothing at all, and that was back in high school. I went anorexic, and I was like, everyone else is skinny, I'll get skinny, but I'll just make myself really small. Then I was like, I'll start throwing my food up. That was insane. It's crazy that I went there, but compassion for my younger self, because she didn't realize that her body was worthy of being loved. And I think through that, showing up for yourself and building that respect, you realize that I think it's, instead of looking at like the numbers so specifically, because sometimes that is a big obsession, right? I would say, I used to be obsessed with it.
Scale out the window.
I would look at the scale all the time, and it's because I wanted to be smaller. It's because I wanted to be skinny. And then I realized that I no longer wanted to chase something that wasn't serving me. Like that was for other people. And in reality, no one cares, as much as up here. And so definitely numbers, wanting to look a certain way, wanting to have certain features that are bigger than others instead of just be functional. I think that like being a functional athlete, human being, I think anyone that works out is an athlete. Everyone can be an athlete. No one is, there's not one specific person who was made to do it and one specific person that wasn't. I think the confidence aspect as well, just showing up and feeling welcomed into a space. Let's see.
Whenever I would get the scale one, what I would always like let people know would be like, all right, you want to keep weighing yourself. Now tell me what to do when you've come and you worked out with me for, let's say, 60 days. And you've lost 5 pounds of fat, but you've gained 5 pounds of muscle. And then you go weigh yourself, and now you weigh the same thing, and now you feel like it failed. So what are we going to do with the scale? And they're like, oh, wait a minute. And it's like, right, throw the scale out the window.
Yep.
Let's start talking about how your clothes fit. Or let's start talking about how you feel like you look in pictures.
Or the energy that you like, how much energy do you have? And I feel like that was definitely something that was hard for me initially. You know, I would do my in-body and I would look at it and I was like, no, the body fat percentage, or the just all the numbers for me. Sticking to that too rigidly became an obsession. But then on the outside, I was like, wait, I'm growing muscle. I honestly didn't start to see more gains until I stopped paying so close attention to it.
Then you catch a picture of yourself and you're like, wait a minute,
exactly.
look at me
I'm
right
like,
there.
oh, okay, wait. I like go like this. I'm like, oh shoot. That's something that I think actually I experienced this myself with like my arms, right? Like it wasn't probably up until the past 6 months, maybe 6 to 7 months, that I started really working on my upper body. I used to love lower body. That was my favorite.
I didn't know for the longest time that girls skip upper body day like guys skip leg day.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Yes. I thought that upper body day was the worst. It's honestly because I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. But again, we all start from somewhere. We all start as a beginner. And so now I can say upper body day. I don't want to say it takes over me loving lower body day, but it's become one of my favorite ways to start the week. I try to start my week with Muscle Monday, upper body day, because I say our arms and our chest is where we build our confidence. Our legs are the powerhouse to the body. The core is the center. And so realizing that every body part has its part instead of just, I want bigger glutes.
Right.
Or I want a slimmer waist. You know, it's I want to be a functional human and I want to feel confident in myself and my abilities. So yeah, I think that a lot of women maybe if they think what I used to think, which I was like, I don't want to look like super masculine or anything, but I'll be honest, you know, when I was younger, the people I'd look up to were the women who like they had strong arms. Yeah. They showed that strength on the outside, but again, the physical aspect is just the result of that mental aspect.
Right, for sure.
So.
You had touched on something about when you were younger of having an eating disorder, and that's one of the most common threads with women that I sit down with that open up and get vulnerable with your story. I don't know, you being a woman, is it more? It seems like the predominant amount of females suffer from this, whether it's the spectrum of body dysmorphia all the way to anorexia, bulimia, or anything in between. Like, out of 10 girls, how many girls would you say suffer from that at some point in their life?
I don't know if this is a wild one, but like maybe, I don't know, five.
I would feel like
maybe,
it's more. No?
5 or 8.
Really?
Maybe,
yeah.
Like a high amount. It's just what's talked about, which I think I do remember during that time. I mean, it was so long ago when I was younger, but like, I don't think I talked to anybody about that. I kept it all in. And I actually, like probably up until just the past few years, I actually started feeling comfortable eating around people. Like maybe I would go to dinner with people or whatnot, but like it was hard to express to people, like, it's hard for me to eat food in front of another person because it felt like such a silly thing to judge myself for, or to think that other people were judging me for. But again, that's just up here.
Is that where I've seen women in public that they take a bite of food and then they eat the whole time like this, like they're covering their whole face? Is that where that comes from?
I don't know, because I remember in high school I was like, I'm not eating in front of anybody. I was like, I'm just not going to eat. So it would be easier for me to just say I'm not eating because I didn't want people to judge me. And that's something that I fear, when people go into the fitness journeys is then being like, okay, well, them sticking too closely to what they're eating and how much they're eating, because I fear it going in that direction, right? Of restriction.
Right.
So what I try to tell people is we're not focusing on restriction, we're focusing on redirection. Redirection of the choices of food that we're making, but still fueling yourself. And I have to obviously, set that example myself for people to be able to want to do that as well as far as clients go. But I think that learning how to be open and vulnerable about our food choices and going to the right, I don't want to say the right people, but you want to make sure that you're not getting advice from people.
Right. Educated sources.
Yes, exactly.
Get your, I say it all the time, get your stuff from educated people,
Yes.
not influencers that are looking to do content. There's that was one of the biggest things and I was victim to it too, so it's easy to identify, but I look at some of the crazy isolation exercises I was doing to try to grow my chest or my lat or whatever, where it's like, that is not the moneymaker right there. I got that from an influencer who just needed to do some content that day, and that was the extravagant exercise that they came up with just so they could do a video. And it's like, all right, no, I need to learn like the meat and potatoes things. Like that's what.
There's a huge, talking about meat and potatoes, I was just thinking, like, in the sense of things that have been posted, like there's this huge low calorie this and that, which like low calorie is good, but also like not for everybody. Some people do need more calories because they are burning more. And I think another thing is the carb thing, which shout out to Odessa for continuing to remind me. Carbs, like we need carbs. Carbs are so important. And I think I used to feel the same way about putting carbs on my body. Oh, I'm bloated or I'm inflamed. It's just the wrong kind of carbs. There's so many different kinds.
I fell victim to all the same things. You start working out, you run out, you buy every supplement that's on the market and all that stuff, and then you try them all and you realize at the end of the day, like I was trying to tell people, it's like, get a good multivitamin, you know what I mean? Something good multivitamin, some fish oil, some protein powder for a pinch. Like really, that's all you need. Like you don't need to take pre-workout every day. Like you don't need all this stuff. Simplifying it, because you'll get people that are in the gym day one and are like, hey, should I be cutting or should I be cutting or should I be bulking? Or it's like, dude, you need to learn how to lift. You need to learn how to eat. You need to learn how to recover. I had that addict mindset where it's like, I need to do the consistencies every day. And it's like, I'd take a rest day and then I see people out running at the gym and it's like, oh man, I'm getting weaker, I'm getting slower. But it's like, no, being balanced, like you're saying, and being able to have that consistency is taking that rest day sometimes. Like that's what's optimal.
I used to take like 12 different supplements, so I feel that. And then
so much money flushed down the drain.
But it was funny though, because I remember one time I used to take BCAAs.
Branched chain amino acids.
Thank you. And there was someone once, I don't remember who, but they're like, you don't really need BCAAs if your nutrition is right. And I was like, oh, really? And then I started getting on top of my nutrition, and I realized very shortly after, I was like, that's just, they're called supplements for a reason as well. That's something I didn't realize. So PSA to anyone taking supplements, there's a reason why they say not to take it for life. They say to take it on cycles.
What I quickly realized was BCAAs was one. If you walk into a GNC, BCAAs is one of the first things they're going to point you to. They don't ever tell you about EAAs, which is a complete chain of amino acids or anything like that. And then if you take BCAAs, it knocks off the balance of the other ones you're not taking. They don't tell you any of that stuff. So it's like, oh, I'm going to take BCAAs. I don't even know why I'm taking them or what they do or anything. GNC just told me I should take this. And what they fail to realize is like the supplement industry exists to sell us stuff. But like you're saying, if you have a good, healthy, balanced diet, like if you don't, then you supplement something in to make it that complete thing. But it's not protein powder is not your primary source of protein throughout the day.
Nope.
It's good in a pinch or right after a workout, but other than that, you shouldn't be taking that shit.
It's called supplemental for a reason.
I've been going, I don't even take a lot of protein powder or anything like that. But I just went to the doctor, and every time I go, it's like I have protein in my urine. And so he's like, yeah, it's, it's not causing you harm right now, but that's hard on your kidneys. It's going to cause you a thing down the road. And I'm like, why would I have protein in my kidneys? He's like, do you take protein supplements? And I was like, oh, okay. So you mean I'm just peeing them out anyways?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not having the desired effect of what I want it to.
I mean, I was going to correlate this somehow to the veterinary industry because, I used to deal with a lot of animals that had lots of issues, like kidney issues and whatnot, but they were not taking protein powder every day. But anyways, that's a whole nother realm. But
That's all right. What so I got a hypothetical question for you.
I love hypothetical
questions.
This
is a fun one. I've asked it every episode I've ever done.
Okay.
Tonight, you're walking out for the UFC Women's Championship of the World.
Oh, I am?
What's your walkout song?
Oh, shoot.
What is that one song that gets you jacked, ready to go, take over the world?
Okay. Shoot. It's going to take a second. That's a darn good question. I can find it on my phone real fast.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see.
What kind of music, as you're looking for it, what kind of music go ahead, keep looking.
So
what kind of music are you traditionally?
I really like EDM and like mashups more so with EDM.
Okay.
That's when I'm looking to, get pumped up. And then I also really like classical music.
Okay.
But that's for my Zen calming self. Let's see.
That explains your calm and educated demeanor.
I think, oh shoot. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's this one.
Didn't we just talk about this in the gym, and didn't you just say a song?
Oh. Uh-huh.
It could be whatever you want. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to make it easy on you.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a good one. So there's shoot, I think it's this one. Can I play it real quick to see if
How long? Just a couple seconds, right?
Yeah, as long as it's, I think a couple seconds.
Under 5 seconds.
I basically just need to make sure it's the right one. Okay.
The owner's walkout song.
I got it.
Take over the world song, go.
It's it's Electric Love, mashed up with Too Sweet.
We love some Electric Love.
Yes.
Let's hear it. Wait, I'm gonna get a couple
you
seconds.
Want to hear it? Okay.
Couple seconds.
So. Shoot.
Banger. Banger.
There we
I'm
go.
ready to go back to the gym.
Woo. It's just like I really like the slow build. The slow build for me, like it gets me prepared. While I'm like sitting there, I can shake my head, I can dance it out, and then I'm ready to
rock.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a young woman sitting here listening to your story today, and they really identified with all the things you had been through, but they're currently sitting back at that person that you were back then, what would your advice be to them?
My advice would be to, in a place where you feel like you want to close up, in a place where you feel like you're alone, be reminded for just a moment that you're not alone. Sometimes we make ourselves feel alone by not opening up. So taking that step to be vulnerable, to talk to a friend who you trust, or if you don't know who to ask, asking for help. I used to think that asking for help was weak, but if I hadn't asked for help, maybe I would still be in the situation I was still in before. So I'd say it's speak up and know that your voice matters, your feelings matter, and at the end of the day, it's crazy to see just how many people who are around you that might be strangers will offer you a helping hand. So trusting yourself and loving yourself. The list could go on and on and on, but
that's perfect.
Take care of you.
The one thing I want to end this because I feel like this kind of encapsulates you very well as a person. And so we were having a conversation earlier, and you were talking about being an empath, and how it's not even in person, but even when you're on the road and you're in traffic, you feel people's energy.
Yeah.
And you shared your view of what you have of like somebody that cuts you off or flips you off,
Yeah.
and kind of your view of how you look at that, and you try to put yourself in another place or whatever. Could you share some of that?
Yeah.
Because I think if everybody attacked their day like this and started looking at the world like that,
Yeah.
it would be a lot better on them, and it would be a better place in the world.
So I think one thing that we can always work on, the way we make this world a better place, is by being more compassionate, holding more empathy for others. Now it takes a lot, it takes a little bit of a mental shift, because initially we'll want to be reactive to something. But I'll explain that situation. I was in traffic. I was driving, and someone had, they were speeding up on behind me. I was in no rush. I had been up since 3:30 in the morning. I was sleepy, and I needed to drive safely. That was my main concern. But no matter what, if this person had sped up, we would still be in the same spot. They were getting frustrated. They drove around me. They cut me off right at the last second, and then they flipped me off. And I took a second. I was like, okay, take a moment to breathe. What if I was just driving back from a funeral? What if I had just experienced a loss? What if I was having a bad day? What if I was experiencing something that then them flicking me off would inflict, the way that I drive? So there's something that we do with one another. It's a ripple effect, right? Like how we treat the person in front of us isn't just how we treat that person. It's how then that person will go treat someone else. The way you treat your best friend might be the way that they will go treat another friend. The way that you talk to the cashier attendant, when you're getting your gas. Maybe that's going to be the way that they treat the rest of the customers the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about who you see in front of you. It's not about being nice to someone when you're looking at them, close up. It's being nice to people around us, because that's how we can continue to build a stronger world, not by being harsh on one another. Martin Luther King said it well. It was, what did he say? Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So if someone flips you off, while you're driving, instead of thinking, say, thank you. I love you. That's what I think about all the people that may have hurt me in the past. It's thank you. You helped me find my strength.
Let's go.
So
Beautiful way to look at it. Fiona, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming down today. It's been a pleasure to sit down. I'm already looking forward to the next time we get to do it.
yes.
If you would be so kind,
Yes.
take a look into your camera right over here.
Is it this one?
Maybe that one.
Okay.
And maybe throw out a couple I am statements to let these people know who you truly are.
Okay. I am Fiona. I am resilient. I am kind. I am empathetic. I am compassionate. And I am strong.
You are a badass, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Aw.